All right. I'm live. So earlier was not very successful with this, but right now I am. And I am so looking forward to sharing this information with you. Today I'm going to talk to you about why it doesn't have to take you 3 years or 5 years or even longer to make a move abroad. And I'm going to share 3 reasons that people get stuck in taking so long to do it, if they do it at all. So before we do that, I would like to say that, let's see who's joining us. All right. Okay, people are joining, so I'm going to give it a minute. So before I jump into those 3 reasons that people remain stuck in inertia and take 3 years, 5 years, or longer to move abroad, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Patricia Brooks, the Courage Catalyst, and I am the creator of the Carefree Expat Incubator Program. I currently live in sunny southern France and have for the last 6 years already. And it is amazing. I help single women who are just like me find the confidence and courage to move through their fear and their self-doubt and the overwhelm of making a move abroad so that they can finally start living and thriving in the country they have dreamed of for a long time. All right. So that is who I am. Today, I'm going to share with you the 3 misconceptions about why it takes so long for people to move abroad, what those reasons are that it makes people take so long to move abroad. And so I am going to jump right in now. Reason number 1 is something I talk about often, and that is the reason it takes people so long to move abroad, if they move at all, is they haven't decided. They might be out there telling people, oh yeah, one day I'm going to move abroad. They might be telling themselves that a lot. But in reality, they have not decided that moving abroad is for them. So it kind of doesn't make much sense, right? Why would you say something and not really mean it? Well, sometimes people are ready to change their lives, to start a new chapter, and they see something that somebody else is doing, and it seems like it's exciting. It's something that they want to do, but deep down, it's really not in alignment with what they want to do, and they might not know it, but they might think that they do want to do this thing, and so they are telling themselves that they want to move abroad. But they haven't decided. And because they haven't decided, they haven't committed to taking forward action. All right. So for me, that was me. In 2014, the end of 2014, I started to get this feeling that I was ready to live in a French-speaking country. And back then, it was Canada, right? I thought, oh, it'll be Canada. And I visited Quebec City a couple of times. And I really hadn't decided, right? It was like it was more of a wish than anything else, right? I did start learning French, but that was about all. I didn't research visas. I didn't talk to somebody about which visa would be best. I didn't, think about what my job opportunities would be. I just studied French and did nothing more because I hadn't really decided. So why is it that what's another reason that people might not decide, right? One is it's really not their dream. They think it's their dream. It's not their dream, and they're not committed because deep down it doesn't feel good. But number 2, they might not have decided because the pain of where they currently are really isn't that bad. It hasn't risen to a level where they're willing to do the required work. And that was me. Like I said, I wanted to live in a French-speaking country. 2014, 2015, And then 2016 happened. And that was something that really got me moving. We had an election in November, and the results were not to my liking, but I kind of was looking at the glass as half full. Maybe things would turn out all right. Maybe he would become presidential in 2 months' time. So I held out hope. I wasn't starting to make my move abroad yet. But on Inauguration Day, I realized that I needed to do something more than just study French in order to be living in France. And so in January of 2017, I found a coach to help me to figure out some things about my moving abroad and get unstuck. And so that was January of 2017. All right. A year later, January 25th, 2018, I was on a plane to move to the south of France, right? So as soon as I decided and as soon as I committed and got the help I needed, it moved really, really fast. So it doesn't have to take a long time. So that's reason number one. You haven't decided. You're not committed. Reason number two has to do with something that one of my clients shared with me in our first conversation together. She said, I seem to be dancing around all of the things. I seem to be dancing around the thing that I need to be doing, right? I'm, learning French, and I've spoken to my ex-husband to see if I could take our daughters out of the country, across the ocean. Got approval for that. I'm networking. I'm doing all these. I talked to somebody about visas twice, the same person twice over the course of, 2 different times, 4 years apart, because I am stuck and I'm dancing around the thing that I need to do. So let me give you a little background on her. In 2015, she had a health scare, and she realized that she was not, she was not promised tomorrow. So she decided that she wanted to live in France. This was something she had done earlier when she was 26, and now she wanted to take her children over there so they could experience it too. So in 2015 was when she said, yeah, I want to make this move abroad, and started doing all of these things. But and her daughter, one of her daughters was a freshman in high school. So 4 years later, her daughter is a freshman in college, and she's still in the same place, in the same country, in the same city, and not in Paris, France. And so that started to boil up in her, this feeling like, I got to do something different. So by 2021, she found me. We had a conversation, and she said, yeah, my issue is I'm dancing around the thing I need to do that will get me there. And so I said to her, well, what is that thing? What is the thing that you need to do that you think would get you to France? And she said, I need to apply for the visa. I need to figure out the visa type that I'm going to go for. I need to pull the paperwork together, and I need to apply for the visa. And I asked her, well, okay, so that's your next step. Why aren't you doing it? Why are you dancing around the thing you need to do? She said to me, well, if I apply and they grant me this visa, then what? That's what she said. Then what? Right? So her dancing around this thing that she knew she needed to do came from a place of fear. And not fear of failure, because she didn't say, well, what if they don't give it to me? She said, well, what if they do? Then what? So people dance around and avoid doing the work because they're afraid, right? They might be afraid that they might not get the visa, and that's a very real fear too. But you might be afraid of getting it and then feeling like, oh, well, I'm really out on a limb here. So we spoke, and she signed up, and that was April of 2021 that she started my program. In August of 2022, she and her daughters moved to Paris, France, right? So when you take that next real step, things start to move. It starts to feel real to you, and you take off. You get things done. All right. So that's reason number two. Reason number three has to do with beliefs. So you might be saying to yourself, yes, I want to move abroad. And you might be dabbling here and there. You might be playing at moving abroad, but you might not really believe deep down that you are capable or it's possible for you to move abroad. You see all these other people doing it, but you know you're different. They've got something that maybe you don't have. And so while you want to do it, you don't believe it. And so you don't believe it. So why are you going to put in effort and energy into something you don't think is going to come to fruition? All right. So there's a belief that you aren't capable or it's not possible for you. And there's the belief that I'm not worthy of it. Who am I to move to France, and leave my family and friends behind? So that's another thing. And when we have these beliefs that we don't believe it's possible, when we don't believe we are worthy or deserving of something, then what do? We sabotage, we self-sabotage. And one of the ways that we self-sabotage is by putting conditions that are really hard to reach in front of us before we take the next real step. So sometimes I hear people say, well, I really want to make sure that I'm okay in case there's an emergency. So I want to have a hefty amount of savings. And maybe they'll set a savings goal of $50,000 or $60,000. And so they're working to that. And maybe when they get close to that, they say, well, maybe that's not enough. And then they'll up it a little bit. Or perhaps they'll set the savings goal, but then not really save for it because, well, they don't believe that it's possible for them to do it. Or they don't believe that they're worthy, right? So that's one example. Another example is saying I have to have a remote job that I can work anywhere in the world, doing exactly what I'm doing in the country that I don't like, and doing the same kind of work that I don't like, but I'm going to do it remotely, right? And so before I can proceed and do the next real thing or the next real step, I have to get this job, right? And I'm not saying that having a job or some means of support is not important. I'm just saying that when that stops all other progress, then you're not going to be moving abroad, especially if you are looking for work that you really don't want to do, because that energy that you bring to applying is going to repel your employers, right? It's something that is strange but true. All right. So those are the three reasons people get stuck, stall, or don't even maybe move abroad. They haven't made a decision. It's not their dream, or they aren't in enough pain yet. Number two, that is that they're dancing around the next real thing that's going to move them forward. They're avoiding. And number three is they don't believe it's possible for them, or they don't feel worthy of it, right? And all of those things create these blocks that cause you to kind of spin your wheels, get frustrated. And you see somebody on social media who's getting on a plane to move to their country, and you've been trying this for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, and you see that, and you feel a little bit disgusted with yourself, but you feel a little bit annoyed with them too, right? That doesn't feel good, especially if you have this dream and this goal to do this thing, right? So one question you still might have is for number two is, well, what if you don't know? You might be dancing around the next real step because you don't know what the next real step is. Well, how do you know what the next real step is? And I'm going to answer that for you in a minute. But first, I'm going to share with you what I offer. I have a group coaching and mentoring program for single women that is comprised of weekly group coaching calls and a private Facebook group of like-minded women, along with an online curriculum that helps you move through these blocks, these things that are holding you back and keeping you spinning your wheels and keeping you in a country that where you feel closed in, where you feel so guarded, where you feel like you can't be your true self, where you don't feel joyful, and that it's really weighing on your mental health. And so it moves you through those things so that you can get to that place where you are able to do the next real steps and do them with confidence and feel good and make progress and move abroad in a year's time or in 15 months time, instead of 3 years or 5 years or 6 years or however long it has been, right? So that's what I have to offer. It's called the Carefree Expat Incubator. And your next real step, so what is the next real step? Your next real step, if you feel this, if this resonated with you at all, is to schedule a discovery call with me, complimentary discovery call with me, so that you can learn more about how I help women make this move and move through these blocks. You can learn more about the method and approach that I use to help women, this proven method. And you can learn how you can get started so that you can move through this inertia or this churn and this discomfort, and finally stop surviving in a country that no longer serves you and start living and thriving in one that does. All right. So book a call, and I'm going to put a link to that in the description. So let me get that. And while I do that, I see some comments. Typing this in now. All right. So that's the link where you can go to book your complimentary discovery call with me, and we can talk about what it is that you want to achieve, how I can help you get there. And I so look forward to that. So are there questions that you have? I have a question for you. Which one of these resonated with you the most? Hi, Retta. Hi, Fishing, New York City. From Brooklyn. All right. Which one of these resonated with you? Okay. Fear of failure, or fear of success, or some other fear? Waiting for a response there. Anybody else have one that resonated with them? Oh, okay. So planning the trip. All right. Fear of planning the trip of the move. Well, we can discuss that. The amount of time, a fear of success. There are a lot of fears. Okay. Fear of planning the trip, fear of success, the amount of time. So yeah, these are all things that need to be worked through so that you can start living your life and thriving in that country where you feel so alive and so free and so open. All right. Fear of failure, success. And I'm trying to read this from Antoinette. That doesn't mean anything to me. So, but yes. All right. So I'm going to end it here. If you have decided that moving abroad in and living and thriving in another country is for you, and you are committed to living there in the next 6 to 24 months, but feel like you need some help moving through some of these fears that you're talking about, book the call. Link is in the comments. Schedule time with me. It's complimentary discovery call where you can learn more about the program, more about how I help people move through fears and doubts. And I look forward to that. All right. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me live. If you are tuning in from the future, thank you for watching and watching to the end. I appreciate you. Take care and bye for now.